Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hi, hello, welcome if you're new here. My name is Sienna. Welcome if you're returning. Today I'm going to be doing an extremely late mid-year book tag. It is currently the 31st of July, so I'm quite literally just before August filming this, but I figured better to film it than to never film it. So that's what we're going to be discussing today, going through a few of the questions. I don't know exactly who kind of originally did this book tag. I mainly watch like Carrie Can-Read's book tag. I watch a few other people's book tags as well, but that's where I kind of saw this one originally. So yeah, I can't really credit the original person, but whoever it was, thank you for creating it, and let's get into it. First question is best book you've read so far this year. And there's two I have for this. So far, I would say the two books that I've loved the most have been one, Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth, which I've made an entire video on. I loved that book so much. It was so beautifully written. The characters are just so interesting and real and relatable and deep, and the writing style, it just set the atmosphere up for such a beautiful story about discovering your sexuality and really intense female friendships that turn into more, and religion and families and being gay in Ireland in the 90s, and all those different aspects that I think all just came together so well. And I really enjoyed that book, and I often think about it. I have it like right, where is it? It's on this side, I think. I often think about it because there were so many gorgeous quotes in that book as well, and just so many things that I was like, wow, that was really relatable and really hit home. And just the way that Chloe is able to kind of create these characters that are complex. They both have shitty things that they do in order to kind of discover themselves, and they're just really imperfect people because no one is perfect. And I think that really just honestly made the story so much better, and wasn't like one person did one thing wrong, and even in like that wrong thing you also couldn't really fault it, because being gay can be a really difficult conclusion to come to and thing to talk about, and there's just so many layers to it. And so I loved that book a lot. And then the other book I've also spoken about in its own separate video was The Hollow Dark by Tony, oh my god, I don't know why that wouldn't come out, Tony Duart, which this is going to be a duology or trilogy, I'm not sure yet, but it's a queer fantasy series that follows our two main characters, August and Felix. If you liked the kind of vibe of C.S. Packett's like Dark Prince, Dark Air duology, I think you would really like this duology as well. It was so good. I was obsessed. I was hooked from the beginning. Again, everything about it just flowed so well. I loved the characters. I loved the complexities to it. I loved the magic system. So they're wielders in this world. And basically, our main character, August, he is the prince, and his magic is quite different from other wielder magic, and it discovers him meeting someone else whose magic, Felix, is also quite illegal, because in the wielder world there's only a couple that are sanctioned and that are okay to use, and neither of these two have sanctioned magic. And so you're following two timelines, the before when they first meet and then the current day and what's happening. And you also get a few different perspectives of other characters throughout this book as well. And it was just really good. It was a great fantasy book. Again, one I think about often. I'd love to reread it. And I believe that this was the author's like second book. I think that the author has another series, and that one's not queer, whereas this one is, and I just am obsessed with it. Again, I've made a whole video on why I love it, but great characters, beautiful writing again, easy to follow but still complex world building, and just overall a great time. I just loved it as someone who loves queer fantasy, and I'm often looking for that really specific feeling I get when I do read a good fantasy. This book gave me that, and by far has been my favorite fantasy of the year. So yeah, I would say that one as well. Second question, new release you haven't read yet but need to, and that would probably be Better Than Revenge by B. Fitzgerald, which I had the physical copy. I should have brought it in with me, I didn't. And I spoke about this in my, not last video, the video before, about new books that I got, but it's a new sapphic release that involves these two actresses and their intense rivalry from their, like, what's it called? Their like art academy. That's definitely not what it's called. I'm so sorry if you're in acting. Their academy to then them being actresses, and then it takes a bit of a dive into a murder. So it's sapphic, it's got murders. I love the cover for this book, and that one recently came out in Australia. I don't know if it's out yet, because I had a look like on Goodreads and it didn't seem to be out for the rest of the world, so maybe it's just released in Australia, I'm not sure. But that's a new release that I'm really wanting to read and to check out, and I have it, I just need to start it. And there will definitely be a few more upcoming releases. I will speak about them at the end of the video, but that one is the main one right now I need to read. And then there was also another book actually that came out yesterday, so it's The Villain's Melody by Lola Malone. This is a queer dark academy romance that sounds like it's quite gothic. It features the mafia. I've just started it, so I am a few chapters in. I don't know if I particularly love the way that it's written, but I do really enjoy the overall scene and the characters that we're going to get. So I'm intrigued and I do want to keep reading it. But in this, we're following Rowan, who is our main character. He is pretty sure it's a violin that they're playing, but they're calling it something else. And so he is at this really fancy academy on a scholarship, and he's looking for his sister as she disappeared years ago. And then our other main character, and I really know I'm going to butcher his name, is Kiernan. I'm going to spell it, but I've been trying to pronounce it right in my head, and every time I just feel like I'm messing it up. And he is the son of this massive kind of like mafia family on the planet, and his dad has tasked him with looking out for Rowan. And so like I said, I'm only a couple of chapters in. I do wish the writing style was a little bit different. Like, it's the one that for me just doesn't really flow super well, but the premise I really like, and it's quite a big book too. It's like 550 pages or something. So I'm definitely going to continue to read that. Most disappointing read is question number 3. And this one really tragically has to go to Fake Shop by C.E. Ricky. I love C.E. Ricky's books. Like, Iced Out is one of my favorite books, favorite hockey romances, just favorite books in general. And a few of her other books I really love as well. And this was the 5th book in that kind of series. And for some reason it just didn't, I don't know, I got like halfway through and I wasn't really into the trope. It was fake boyfriends, which sometimes is hit or miss. Like, sometimes I really like a fake boyfriend or like fake girlfriend trope, and then sometimes I don't. And maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. I can't even remember the characters' names, to be honest, but we were following our 2 characters. One I think is like also like a brother's best friend situation, where one of the characters, his best friends with the brother, and then the brother and him start dating. So I don't know, I think I DNF'd it at like 50%, but yeah, I just wasn't feeling it for whatever reason. And I think if you really love C.E. Ricky, you probably also either really loved it or maybe you didn't, but for some reason I just didn't gel with it, and that was probably my biggest disappointment so far, which again was upsetting because I do really love her work and I do really love the other books. But maybe in the future I'll give it another go. I don't know. It could have just been how I was feeling at the time. I'm a massive mood reader, so we'll see. Biggest surprise. Now, I didn't have a specific book that was a biggest surprise, but I do have a specific like trope or genre, and that is tennis. I spoke about this in like my last vlog, but I literally have never like watched, engaged anything with tennis before. And then in the past like 3 weeks, there's been multiple queer tennis books that have come out. And I've been eating them up. Like, they have been so good. I'm currently reading In Your Court at the moment by Kit Haley, and I'm really loving that. I think it might be my favorite out of the 3 tennis books I've read so far. But tennis as a trope has been a big surprise because we obviously have hockey, and I feel like there's so many hockey books that have come out, especially since, I mean, there was always quite a lot of queer hockey books, and probably a lot of straight hockey books too, actually. I've just never read them. But there's always been a big hockey trope. I'd say hockey and maybe like football have been the 2 biggest tropes. But then tennis has just like come out of the woodwork somehow, and has been multiple books released that are all around tennis. So I'd say that's been my biggest surprise, and I've been really enjoying it. And I've been learning a bit about tennis, and I'm like, maybe this will be my new hyperfixation is tennis. But I really like learning about different sports or things that I wouldn't be interested in besides in these kind of like tropes in books, and it kind of just broadens my horizons a little bit. So yeah, I'd say tennis. Favorite new author, this can be debut or new to me, and I have 2. One is Chloe Michelle Howarth. I just loved Sunburn's writing, which again, I don't normally really love like lyrical kind of writing styles, but her writing is just insane. It is so beautiful, and I really want to check out her other book that's come out, which is He Birth Upon It. That is on my TBR to be read list. And I really just enjoy her writing, her character building, her world setting, the very small details that she can give that make something so intimate is what I really enjoy about her writing style. So definitely her. And then I'm pretty sure this was also in last year's mid-year tag, but C.G. Drews has been a big author that has really released some bangers for me. I don't know why I said that. Oh my god, I just cringed so hard at myself. She's released some great books, and I did read Hazelthorne this year, but it technically came out last year. But again, her writing style, her attention to detail and to setting a whole atmosphere and a whole world and just drawing you in is magnificent, and I love her work so much. So she's also another one, even though she's not technically like new to me, but her work has been newer in like the past maybe like 6-8 months to me. Then we have your newest fictional crush, and this one probably has to go to Marinka from The Midnight Girls. I'm slowly making my way through it. It's a really good book, but then a new release or a new book will come out, and I'll just end up reading that instead of finishing what I already have, which is Story of My Life. I always do this. It's such a bad habit. But I really love her as a character. So in this world, we're following our 2 main characters, Sozia and Marinka, and they are both different witches with the same goal of stealing the prince's heart for kind of different purposes. But Marinka, just something about her. I really like her. I think she's quite funny, and I just like her personality. I think she would make a really cute girlfriend. And then also in, you know, if we're just being real and honest here, I recently just finished Strange Girls. I forget the author's name, but Strange Girls, and one of our main characters in that, Ava, I do unfortunately think I would be probably attracted to her toxicity, and it's something I'm going to continue working on in therapy. But she very much has qualities and traits that I'd probably be like, oh, that's hot, even though it wouldn't be like a functional, healthy relationship. But probably her as well. Like, I could see myself in real life having a tiny, incy bit of a crush on her. So Ava as well, but Marinka, I think, would be a great girlfriend. And so she's like my healthy answer in response to that. Then we have a character who broke my heart, and this would have to go to Alex from Chasing Fields. This book was so sad and I was already just like having a rough time. I cried a little bit, but it didn't fully break me because I think I was already like on the floor at my lowest. I was like, you know what? What's some more sadness? And this book, oh my god, is so sad, so devastating. We're following our two main characters, but Alex in particular is the one who really pulled on my heartstrings. He comes from quite an abusive background. His brother was raised around DV and Alex was raised around his brother and his mum, who heavily misuses substances, as does his brother. And his brother was just quite physically and emotionally abusive to Alex. I think this author did a really great job at really portraying the anxiety and the PTSD and the mental health aspects of being raised in abusive houses and being around that, and attachment styles and how you then perceive relationships and safety in the world. And I think this author did a really good job. I think it's by Skylar someone, I've actually forgotten the name of the author, but I think this author did a really good job at representing what it would be like for someone who has gone through that. And as someone who works in mental health currently, it definitely, I think, it made me quite sad because it's quite often the presentation that we then kind of see in that field. And so I just really felt for Alex because I think being able to actually connect it to real life kind of experiences made it even sadder. And so yeah, I'd say that is a character who kind of like really I felt for, and like I'm really glad that he found someone who is so loving and caring, but at the same time there's a lot of work he kind of unfortunately will have to do to get in a place to be able to receive that love and to be in that relationship. And so that one is definitely the one I think that stuck with me the most. And then we have favorite character so far, and I'd say Felix from The Hollow Dark is definitely one of my favorite characters I've read this year. I really loved him. I thought he was quite interesting. I really liked his views on the political side of the book as well, and on the social justice side. I thought he was quite funny. I thought he was quite a good flirt. I really liked that him and August did the enemies to lovers trope really well, and I think I forgot to mention that when I spoke about it in this one, but in my other one I did. But it's a really good enemies to lovers with like a purpose and a reason, and I think Felix is just like the perfect kind of person to have in that dynamic, and his personality really reflected well in that role. And so Felix definitely. And then also Laurie from Hazelthorn, which I really enjoyed this book as well. This is following, it's quite a bit of a drip of a tale, but in this book we're following our two main characters. We're following Laurie and, let me get his name, Evander. I knew it was something cool. Evander lives in this really gothic mansion, and then the person who's kind of been like his main caregiver dies. And from there, he's trying to figure out who is the killer, what has happened. And essentially Laurie, he has this idea of what Laurie has done to him. And so he hates Laurie. And I mean, for good reason, for the memory he has of it. But this book is kind of him and Laurie coming together to kind of figure out who in the family, as all these other relatives start to kind of come in, the main killer, culprit. And I don't want to give too much away because it was really interesting actually. I want to reread it because I read it like right at the start of the year, and I feel like this is a great one when it comes like October time. It's quite gothic, quite spooky, and I'm really intrigued to reread it then actually, because I think the vibes would be a bit more fitting than middle of summer. But this is just, I mean, again, C.G. Drews is one of my favorite authors. Her writing, her characters, her everything, a 10 out of 10 for me. And this book was really great too. So I would say Laurie's another favorite character. Evander I liked as well, but Laurie just had a bit more of a personality that I really preferred. So yeah, that's another one. And then the last great. The last question, which also ties into CG Drews, of course, is book or books I'm most looking forward to reading towards the end of the year. And CG Drews has a new one coming out. This is called Scorpion, and I'm going to read out the blurb because I've not read it. I've tried to not even look at it too much. I just know that it's coming out, I think in, I want to say like October maybe? Yeah, 29th of October. Scorpion Deep. A dark, intoxicating, and deeply unsettling queer YA horror about a lonely boy and a sinister sea god risen from the deep. I mean, that just sounds really great. The only thing Jonathan wants from the mouldering Isle of Kelcaro is to escape. Summer is ending. When his friends leave for college on the mainland, Jonathan will be alone with nothing but the ocean's haunts. In an act of wild desperation, Jonathan pays a tithe to Scorpion Deep, an eldritch sea god, and to his horror awakens him from the murky depths. As scales grow down his spine and Scorpion Deep's obsession darkens, Jonathan realizes the only way to end the nightmare is to destroy the monster, but the price must be paid in blood. I mean, the cover, everything about it just sounds fantastic. I haven't really read that many sea-based books, but again, I love CG Drews. Anything she puts out, I love. She does horror excellently, and I can't wait to check that out. That's the main kind of book I would say I'm like most looking forward to. And there's definitely going to be some other books that come out, but that's the main one that I've been like, I need to read that book as soon as it releases. Another one I do want to actually check out, and this is a newer release, is Almost Life by Kieran, let me get the author's name, Kieran Millwood Hargrave. And this is a sapphic book set in Paris and follows the lives of these two women when they first meet and then all the way through different stages of their life. And I've heard this one's meant to be quite good, and that's a new one that I want to check out as well. Those are the questions that I found, the ones that I kind of wanted to answer the most, and I would love to hear what your mid-year book tag is looking like. I've currently hit my goal. My goal for reading this year was 20 books, because going from reading like almost nothing to reading like a few books last year, I didn't want to give myself an unreachable kind of goal. Like I didn't want to give myself 100 and then feel like shit that I couldn't reach it. So I think I've read about like 21 books so far, which I'm really proud of, because again, I used to read a lot of books. I used to read like 100 books a year. And then I just went through it and read nothing. And so I'm trying to just like slow and steady my way there, not overwhelm myself with it. So yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of the books I've read, what I'm looking forward to, favorite characters. If you guys have any recommendations or any books that you think I should check out that are coming out later in the year, please comment them down below. I'm always looking for new books, specifically fantasy. I'd love some new like queer fantasy books that are coming out. So if you've got any, please comment them down below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, for being here. Really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you for your time, for watching me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.